Welcome to the deep dive. We're going to be diving headfirst into the world of OpenAI today.
Yeah, lots going on.
You guys have sent us a ton of articles about it,
Yeah.
with Elon Musk wanting back in and Sam Altman's
Yeah.
counteroffers, and then this massive AI infrastructure project that's in the works.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot to unpack, so we're going to help you figure out what it all really means.
Yeah, it's definitely been wild in AI news lately, and it feels like every headline is connected to the next. To really understand it, I think you have to see the big picture. You know, who's vying for power, what's driving these decisions, and what this could all mean for the future of AI development.
Yeah. So let's start with, I guess, what everyone is talking about the most, which
Yeah.
is Elon Musk's $97.4 billion bid to buy back into OpenAI.
Right.
He co-founded it, left, now he wants back in with a mountain of cash. What's the real story here?
Well, the sources say that Musk is claiming he wants to steer OpenAI back to its nonprofit roots and focus on benefiting humanity, which was the original mission, right? To make sure that powerful AI benefits everyone.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, it's complicated because he also runs xAI, a direct competitor to OpenAI.
So is this a billionaire's version of wanting your cake and eating it too?
It's possible some experts are raising their eyebrows at Musk's motivations, suggesting that he might be more interested in getting his hands on OpenAI's cutting-edge technology and their top talent than, like, pure altruism.
Right.
And you have to consider that, you know, OpenAI itself shifted away from a purely nonprofit model to fuel its research.
Yeah.
So it begs the question, can any organization truly separate AI development from the profit motive in today's landscape?
That's a good point. And it leads us to something else that's kind of a head-scratcher, which is OpenAI's structure.
Yeah.
It's not your straightforward tech giant like Google or Microsoft.
Right, exactly. OpenAI is this really unique mix of nonprofit and for-profit arms. And the sources don't really dive into all the complexities of it, but this structure likely impacts how they would even consider a sale like this.
Yeah, so even if Musk shows up with that giant stack of cash, Sam Altman can't just say sold.
Not so fast. The OpenAI board plays a crucial role, and they might be thinking, you know what's best for OpenAI financially, even if it means entertaining bids that are much larger than Musk's offer.
Oh.
You know, recent valuations put OpenAI somewhere around the $300 billion mark. That's more than 3 times what he's offering.
Okay, wow. Talk about high-stakes poker.
Yeah.
Then we have this totally unexpected curveball. Sam Altman's counteroffer to buy Twitter for a tenth of Musk's bid, $9.74 billion. Was that a serious move or just a playful jab at Musk?
Honestly, it's hard to say. The sources don't really give any insight into what Altman was going for there.
Yeah.
Maybe he was trying to highlight the massive gap in the valuation between these two bids. Or maybe he was just, you know, throwing a little shade back at Musk. It's hard to say. I mean, this is the world of tech titans, and they play by their own rules sometimes.
It definitely makes things interesting.
Yeah.
But let's move on to this massive AI infrastructure project, the one everyone's calling Stargate.
Right.
OpenAI is teaming up with Oracle, a Japanese investment firm, and an Emirati sovereign wealth fund.
Right.
And they're pouring $500 billion, that's $500 billion, into AI infrastructure here in the U.S.
Yeah.
It's hard to even wrap your head around that kind of money.
It's an astronomical figure, and President Trump himself called it the biggest AI infrastructure project in history. Think about it. They're not just building servers and data centers. They're literally laying the foundation for America's dominance in this global AI race.
Wow.
This is a clear signal that AI isn't just some, you know, futuristic concept anymore. It's a strategic imperative.
But didn't Musk kind of try to rain on their parade a little bit? I read something about him claiming that they don't actually have that much money to spend.
Yeah, he did make that claim, but the sources point out that he didn't offer any evidence to back that up. You know, it's probably just another volley in this back and forth between him and OpenAI.
Right.
But his statement does bring up an interesting point. This project could be giving a small group of companies and governments a huge amount of control over AI's development. What will that mean for the rest of us?
Yeah, that's a pretty big question. It seems like we've only scratched the surface of this whole OpenAI saga.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a potential power struggle at the top, this cryptic counteroffer involving Twitter, and this massive infrastructure project that could literally reshape the entire AI landscape.
We're just getting started. And the real question is, what does all of this mean for you? How will these power plays and investments shape the AI that affects your everyday life? We'll dig into that more after a quick break.
We're back. And I'm still thinking about everything we talked about
Yeah.
before. One thing that's really stuck with me is this tension between developing AI for the benefit of humanity and the fact that so much of this research is driven by profit.
Right. Yeah, that's a core issue here for sure. When you look back at OpenAI's origin story, it was really all about democratizing AI,
Yeah.
ensuring that it benefits everyone, not just a select few,
Right.
which is a noble goal,
Yeah.
but, it kind of bumps up against the realities of funding this groundbreaking research.
Right. AI research needs massive computing power, resources.
Exactly.
It makes sense that OpenAI had to evolve to keep up.
Exactly. They needed that funding, so they had to move towards a for-profit model. And, from a practical standpoint, it makes sense. But it does raise some important questions. Can a company really prioritize the benefit of all mankind if its main goal is making money for investors?
Yeah, it seems like a really tough balance to strike. And this tension is even more apparent with Musk's bid. He says he wants to take OpenAI back to its nonprofit roots, but he's also running his own for-profit AI company, XAI.
Right. It makes you wonder what his end game really is. Is he truly worried about the ethical implications of AI, or is this all just a strategic power play to outmaneuver a competitor?
Yeah.
The sources mention that Musk hasn't always seen eye to eye with OpenAI's leadership, especially when it comes to the potential risks of AGI, artificial general intelligence.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that term thrown around. AGI. What exactly does that mean?
So imagine like an AI that can learn and solve problems just like a human, but potentially with even greater speed and accuracy.
Okay.
That's the ultimate goal of AGI, the system that could revolutionize just about every aspect of our lives.
Hi.
But it also carries some huge risks if it's not developed responsibly.
Yeah, it's exciting and terrifying all at the same time. And with all of this money being pumped into AI development, it feels like things are accelerating faster than we can keep up with.
Right, and that's why it's so crucial to be having these conversations now. We need to examine the potential consequences, not just the technological ones, but like the economic, the political, and societal impacts as well. This is a human issue, not just a tech issue.
Yeah, like what happens if AI gets so advanced that it takes over entire industries?
Right.
Could that lead to widespread job losses and social upheaval?
That's a real concern. Some experts believe that AI will create, new jobs and opportunities, while others are worried about mass unemployment.
Right.
We need to prepare for both scenarios and start thinking about how we adapt to a future where AI plays a much bigger role.
This is giving me a lot to think about. It's clear that we're just scratching the surface of a really complex and rapidly changing landscape. But one thing's for sure, we can't just sit back and watch as the future of AI unfolds, without any input.
Absolutely. We're not just passive observers in this. The future of AI is something that we're actively shaping with every decision we make, every investment that gets funded, every conversation we have about it.
So for this last part of our deep dive, let's shift our focus to potential solutions.
Yeah.
What can we do as individuals and as a society to make sure that AI benefits all of humanity? Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground so far,
Yeah, we have.
from Elon Musk's takeover attempt to that crazy infrastructure project. Now let's get into what we can actually do about all this.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We've talked about all the challenges and the power struggles and the potential risks, but this isn't about, throwing up our hands and saying like, oh, the robots are taking over.
Right.
It's about being proactive and shaping the AI-powered future that we want to see.
Okay, so where do we start? One thing that comes to mind is regulation. Like, it feels like we need some guardrails to prevent AI from being misused.
Oh, absolutely. The sources mention that governments around the world are already working on AI regulations,
Right.
and they're focusing on key areas like data privacy, so making sure your information isn't being used in ways that you didn't consent to, and also like bias mitigation.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that AI systems aren't perpetuating existing inequalities.
Yeah, that makes sense. But regulations take time, and AI is moving so fast. What can we do in the meantime?
Well, one of the most important things is education. The more we all understand about AI, like what it can do, what it can't do, and how it actually works, the better equipped we'll be to make informed decisions, and to advocate for responsible development.
So we all need to become like AI experts. I'm not sure you have time for that.
You don't need a PhD in machine learning or anything like that,
Okay.
but being an informed citizen is key. Read articles, listen to podcasts like this one,
Right.
attend workshops. The more we all understand, the less likely we are to be swayed by, hype or fear-mongering.
I like that. Informed, not intimidated.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so education is one piece of it.
Mhm.
But can we do more than just learn about AI? Can
Yeah.
we actually, like, influence what happens with it?
Oh, absolutely. You can support organizations that are fighting for ethical AI development.
Okay.
You can hold companies accountable for their AI practices, ask those tough questions about how they're using your data and building their systems, and most importantly, demand transparency.
hmm
We have a right to know how AI is being used in our
This is
lives.
starting to feel a little more hopeful. It's not just about tech companies calling all the shots.
Right.
We actually have a say in this.
Exactly. We need to move beyond just reacting to headlines and become
Hmm.
active participants in actually shaping
Yeah.
this future. And it all starts with asking the right questions.
Yeah.
Like, what values do we want to guide AI development? Do we prioritize profit above all else? Or do we strive for a future where AI benefits all of humanity?
Those are big questions. And honestly, they feel kind of overwhelming sometimes.
They are big questions, but that's why it's so important that we're having this conversation. The fact that we're all here, you're listening to this deep dive, you're engaging with these topics, yeah, man, that gives me hope. We're not just passively waiting for the future to happen. We're creating it together right now through the choices that we make.
Well, that's a powerful thought to end on.
Mm.
So to our listeners, we leave you with this. Don't just consume information about AI. Be a part of the conversation. Ask those tough questions. Demand transparency. And be an advocate for an AI-powered world that reflects the values that we want to see in the world. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the future of AI.